We knew that there would be fallout from the commander bannings done by the rules committee, definitely not Wizards of the Coast, but we didn't know how far it would go. Well, a major domino has finally fallen, and Wizards of the Coast officially controls the commander format. That's right, in a statement made today, as of the recording of this video, in conjunction with the former rules committee, that's right, I said former, Wizards of the Coast is officially taking control of Commander. Let's take a look at that announcement. We're not going to read it word for word because that's boring. We'll look at some highlighted points. We'll link it in the Discord for anyone who wants to read it. We'll talk about ramifications of this announcement and the big, I guess, action Wizards of the Coast is already looking to take to change Commander as we know it. All right, let's dig in. As we get into this announcement, I want to make it very clear. I understand the need for a ban list and a rules committee in a community that has 20 million people, or however many Magic fans there are, where Commander is the biggest format. Look, you go to your local game store, you're trying to play with people you don't necessarily know, you want to know what is the baseline of cards I am allowed to bring and not allowed to bring to this battle. From there, yes, of course you have to have the what was formerly known as the Rule Zero power level discussion, but going forward might be called the tier list discussion. We'll get into that as we break down this announcement, but I also believe that Commander should be a community format. You should play Commander however you want, and it started that way and should always be that way. And for that reason, I'm a bit skeptical here, especially because this has some CEDH implications. Without further ado, let's get into this video, and if you like content like this, again, make sure you hit the sub button, because for a small channel like mine, every click of that button helps, and it's like 80% of viewers are not subscribed as we race to 10K subs. Make sure you give that button a little tickle down below. But we see here that Wizards of the Coast has made a statement on Commander, and they're trying to handle this with kid gloves. The statement, the banning, everything that came out in the last week was volatile, and they echo the sentiment that every single content creator, including myself, has stated and shouted into a microphone. This is not necessarily a reason to, not necessarily, this is definitely 100% firm stance here, not a reason to ever bully anybody personally because you don't like the decision of a trading card game. That's been echoed a million times. We're not going to get into that. We should all know that by now. But the big statement down here is, so today, in partnership with members of the existing Rules Committee, we're announcing the Rules Committee is giving management of the Commander format to the game design team of Wizards of the Coast. That's it. Title statement, Wizards of the Coast finally completely controls Commander, as if they hadn't already. Look, that statement's weird to say into a microphone and into a camera, because while there is a rules committee, and there has been, and yes, I understand it's an independent entity, it has felt like Wizards of the Coast has controlled Commander for some time now, by printing cards directly into the Commander format, designing cards for the format, designing entire products based solely around the format. It feels like they've been in control for some time. So in the short term, I don't expect much to happen here, but there are repercussions in the long term. The biggest thing on everyone's mind is going to be, do we reverse the bans? And we'll get a little tinfoil hatty here, but I believe that there's a good reason behind my take here. I was very firm that when the rules committee existed or had control of Commander, so literally, a couple hours ago, there was no chance we see these bans reversed, because look, we live in a world where Commander is a casual format. We already have pods around the world choosing to ignore the rules committee, their recommendations, and what they say you can and cannot play. And because of that, if they were to reverse this decision, it would further invalidate any power they had over the format and make people truly question, hey, why does this committee actually exist? We don't have to follow anything that they say. And to be honest with you, with Commander being a casual, for fun way to play Magic, that makes sense. Again, I said in the intro of this video, I believe there should be a baseline of, hey, I want to get into Commander. I don't know a bunch of people. I'm just going to go to my game store and hope to play a pickup game, find a group to play cards with. I should know what cards are legal and what cards are not. I understand their need for being a baseline, but if you are going to ban things and then turn around when the community gets mad and just unban them, well, you're invalidating any power you actually had, and I think that would be the first step to dissolving the rules committee as a whole. Little did I know at the time of that take, Wizards of the Coast is just going to take it over or be given it to them. It's very clear in the language here that we look at as we look at the article. The Rules Committee gave control of Commander to Wizards of the Coast. And I'm sure it's phrased this way to avoid people thinking, Wizards of the Coast bullied their way into taking Commander. They're not going to stand for this. They banned their expensive cards. And maybe behind the scenes that actually happened. But I do believe the Rules Committee was probably fed up. So all of that to say, will they reverse the bans going forward? Well, they do state that it's very early and they're not going to take any drastic action. And because of this, I don't think we will see a short-term reversal of the existing bans. There's a major change Wizards of the Coast is going to make here that does affect how we play Commander and how we interact with other Commander pods, but we're going to get into that in just a second here. I don't believe in the short term Wizards of the Coast is looking to reverse the recent bans, much for the same reason of the previous Rules Committee. It would just feel volatile, it would feel unstable. But in the long term, after we live in this world for a long time, if there was, in my mind, 0% chance the Rules Committee unbanned the cards when the committee had control of Commander, when Wizards of the Coast has control of Commander, there's a higher, non-0% chance that those bans do get reversed. Look, it's beneficial to Wizards of the Coast for those cards to exist. It's beneficial to be able to reprint expensive non-reserved list staples into new products to help you buy those boxes. I am convinced that Wizards of the Coast wants you interacting with new Commander, and during that transition, they want you building 40 Commander decks rather than 2. They don't really care about the power level. They just want you to constantly keep buying and building brand new stuff. But to sell that product, it is nice to have a big ticket item pop out of the pack every now and again and say hello to make the fans of this game feel, well, validated for spending their hard-earned money on the Magic the Gathering, cardboard rectangles, as some of us cool YouTubers out there say. I really, really do believe that there's now a non-zero chance that those bans get reversed, but I don't think it'll happen in the short term. And again, for all the political reasons I outlined before, but there is a short-term change that is coming down the pipeline that it did seem like was in conjunction with the Rules Committee at the time, and they had alluded to this in several statements saying, hey, we're trying to help you find more like-minded pods to play Commander. And so it seems like they're going with this tier list deck power level discussion to try to ease the pain of finding a group. And look, this makes sense. You have 10 different power levels. You could fall anywhere in from, a 0 to a 10 and somewhere in between. And if, someone's a 6 and someone's a 7, maybe you don't want to play with the 7 if you're the 6, or vice versa. You want to prey on the 6s if you're a 7. But this tier list saying, hey, these are, kind of the generally accepted power levels of these cards. We, as a community, put them into buckets. Bucket 4 being the highest power, bucket 1, it seems like, being the lowest power. And then you say, if you have any cards from bucket 4, you say, hey, my deck, has cards from bucket 4. But if it only has 1, or maybe it's a meme deck with cards from bucket 4, hey, I have bucket 4 cards, but it's a meme deck, that's kind of like saying just a 3.5 and a 4. We could divulge into the same numeric system. But this is a big change because I believe it's going to make power level discussions a little bit easier. It's more of a, hey, it's a 6. Why is it a 6? It's a 7. I had several Commander players constantly tell me that their deck is just, every Commander deck they make is just always a 7 or always an 8. Why? Because it's just easier to have the power level discussion that way. So I think the power level change is a good thing, but all in all, the Commander switching to Wizards of the Coast, you could convince me there's good and bad, right? We are going to see value of cards preserved a little bit more, in my opinion. We're not going to have big swooping bans like this that take out a ton of value, as Wizards of the Coast has been known, looking at things like Oko and Omnath when they're selling product, to keep the cards there as long as possible before we ban them out. Wizards of the Coast likes value, but also the idea that a casual, for fun format is now controlled by Wizards of the Coast, and likely CEDH, the competitive way to play Commander, which I will scream this into the microphone for anyone still watching. You get a little juice here, a little tidbit. Commander was made to be a casual format. There is competitive Magic. If you want to be competitive, that's possible. There are other formats where you can be competitive. We don't have to try to take an inherently non-competitive format and shove it in a competitive box. You can just play competitive Magic. I know. It's wild. It's crazy, but it's totally doable. And trust me, it is beautiful. 1-on-1 60-card Magic is the most pure way to play Magic. It is beautiful. It's gorgeous. If you want to play CEDH and it's just not supported, try out Standard or Modern or Pioneer. I digress. I believe that we will start seeing kind of a more official channels to play CEDH, it's going to get weird, and you could tell me a world where Wizards of the Coast then separates the ban list from Commander and CEDH as CEDH becomes an officially supported format. All in all, it's going to be a unique change to follow along. I want to talk about Duskborn sales because we had the Duskborn release. We have collected all of the data from TCG Player, and it's just been Commander news after Commander news. So hopefully we'll get to that this week. Again, make sure you're subbed, like the video, share this video, and any social media platform where you engage with Magic the Gathering discussion and all that fun stuff. Well, until next time, you guys know me. My name is Josh. Thanks for hanging out today, and click the next video down here below my face because, well, it helps the channel. All right, we'll see you around. Goodbye.